playing political games with this moment in these crisis situations. These are the height of emergency situations. It's just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it.
President Biden debunking his vice president's claim that Florida Governor DeSantis is politicizing the hurricane response. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich thinks it's just one way Joe and Jill Biden are trying to undermine Kamala Harris in the final weeks of the race. He joins us now to explain. Speaker, it's so great to have you on. And I guess great minds think alike, because I've been saying the same thing. I'm like, this is Jill's revenge. Explain why you think Joe Biden is, interfering with the Kamala campaign, with what he's saying. And also, you've been saying that you think this is a sign of a collapse of this campaign.
Well, I think the combination of President Obama's anger directed at young black men and Joe Biden directly contradicting Kamala Harris, not just in the clip you had, but remember earlier, for the first time in 4 years, he came into the briefing room and he said a whole series of things that undermined Kamala Harris's campaign. And I think part of the reason that on The View and in other sightings, she can't tell you anything different that she would do from Biden is she's afraid that if she makes him mad enough, that he'll go all out to defeat her. My personal hunch is that Jill and Joe have decided that their place in history will look bigger if he's the only person ever to defeat Trump. And I suspect also there's a certain resentment that people said he couldn't campaign, and look how badly she's campaigning. And I think it's sort of like payback time.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. And the person holding the bag, if Kamala doesn't win, is going to be Barack Obama, correct?
Well, I think certainly we'll see what happens in neighborhoods that he's attacking. I mean, it's an amazing, candidates shouldn't go out and attack their own base. And he was pretty angry and pretty blunt. And I'm not sure that a lot of black males, when they go to the grocery store or they go to fill up their car, I'm not sure they want to be lectured by Barack Obama from his mansion in Nantucket, telling them what they can and can't do. So I thought it was a goofy on his part. But let me, if I could for a second, Rachel.
Sure.
My greatest threat, my greatest concern right now is that there are public acknowledgments that the Iranian dictatorship is trying to kill President Trump. And we need to recognize there's a huge difference from a 20-year-old with a rifle in Butler, Pennsylvania, and a kill team sent by the Iranians. And I think it's unconscionable that President Biden, who said publicly President Trump can have whatever he needs, they haven't gotten the military aircraft. They haven't gotten the military support against a potential drone attack. President Trump is very vulnerable, in my judgment, if the Iranians are allowed to continue. And we frankly should say openly and clearly, any Iranian dictatorship against a major American political leader will be considered an act of war, and we would retaliate accordingly in a very massive way. I mean, you cannot have a dictatorship thinking that it can send assassins into your country to kill your political leaders. This isn't about Trump. This is about the very viability of the American system and whether or not we're going to tolerate a foreign dictator trying to kill one of our leaders. And the Biden administration is being very slow and not doing what they need to do. I'm genuinely worried about this.
Well, I'm genuinely worried for the president's safety as well. But the last two people who tried to assassinate him were Democrats. So I'm not sure where I stand about that. But if there are, he should get everything he needs. It's very, very clear. And Biden did say that he would approve that. It should be happening right now, though. And your point is well taken. Very quick before you go, what do you expect to happen in the next 3 weeks? Because it feels like so volatile right now.
I think she'll panic. I think that it'll be clearer and clearer that she's losing. And I think Democrats running for the Senate and the House will panic and start saying, you need to elect me to balance off President Trump when he wins. When that starts to happen, you know that it's over. But you can see, by the way, in early voting patterns, the Democrats are way behind where they were in 2020. And I think it's because nobody's inspired to go out and vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Momentum does seem to be building up for Donald Trump. We'll see what happens. Always great to get your thoughts, Speaker Gingrich. Great to have you on today. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.